Arti, we see the deities, we have sort of sadhu sangha. Just think about it. Here at the Srimad Bhagavatam, worship Tulsi. It's just power packed with auspiciousness, culminating in nice Krishna prasadam. So devotees can genuinely say, good morning. For everybody else, nothing horrible has happened yet. Okay. Nice to see you all. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopijana Balaba Girivananari Gopijana Balaba Girivananari Gopijana Balaba Jasoranandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasoranandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamun Tiravanatari Jamuna Tiravanatari Jarada Madhava Kunda Vihare Gopijana Balaba Girivananari Gopijana Jasoranandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanatari Jamuna Tiravanatari Madhava Kunda Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihare Jai Vishnupada Paramansa Piri Vijakacharya Sitata Shisham is Divine Grace of High Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON DBT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananda Guru Vaishnava Ki Nam Char Shlayadasta Kori Ki Prem Shri Guho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadu Dham Ki Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jamuna Maya Ki Ganga Maya Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Sambhira Bhakta Vinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Sisi Rukmini Dwakadishi Ki Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki Gopremanandi. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the divine literacy to C, Guru and Gauranga. Class usually goes till what time officially? When do we usually, 8:30? When do we usually end? Okay. What do we usually do? Okay. Oh, thanks for. And when were you going to share that piece of information with me? Well, see, I don't know what the person said, but I do have some things I wanted to say. Well, interesting. You want to give class? What's with this? Anyway. You said that with such an official voice that no, I appreciate it. It was it was like a voice from a definitive statement from the Devas. Okay. Yeah, well, a bird flies in the sky according to its ability, so we'll see what happens. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dhammaganadibi Saha Kalauna Sadashome Sha Parano Konanodata Narayana Namaskritcha Naram Chaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. The Bhagavatam says, Brinda is the sun. It is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision with the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, we should first offer our respects to the personality of Godhead Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, the goddess of learning, Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tato Bhaktir Bhagavati Putre Bhute Janardane Dampatayor Nitaram Asid Gopa Gopishu Bharata Tato Bhaktir Bhagavati Putri Bhute Janardane Dampatyo Nitaramasid Gopa Gopi Shubharata Tato Bhaktir Bhagavati Putri Pute Janardane Dampatyo Nitaramasid Gopa Gopi Shubharata Tato Bhaktir Bhagavati Putri Bhute Janardane Dampatyo Nitaram Asid Gopa Gopi Shubharata Vaishnavis, Bhutre Bhute Pranardane, Dampadyo Nitaram Asid, Gopa Gopi Shubharata, Tato, thereafter, Bhakti Bhagavati, the cult of Bhakti, devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Putribhute, in the Lord, who had appeared as the son of Mother Yasoda. Janardane, in Lord Krishna. Dampatya, of both husband and wife. Nitaram, continuously. Asit, there was. Gopagopishu, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the Gopas and Gopis, associating with Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda, and following in their footsteps. Bharata, O Maharaj Parikshit. Translation. Thereafter, O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharatas, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead became the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda, they maintained continuous, unswerving devotional love in parental affection. And in their association, all the other inhabitants of Vrindavan, the Gopas and Gopis, developed the culture of Krishna Bhakti. Also you say, thereafter, O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharatas, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead became the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda, they maintained continuous, unswerving devotional love in parental affection. And in their association, all the other inhabitants of Vrindavan, the Gopas and Gopis, developed the culture of Krishna Bhakti. Purport. Although when the Supreme Personality of Godhead stole butter, curd, and milk of the neighboring Gopas and Gopis, this teasing superficially seemed troublesome. In fact, it was an exchange of affection in the ecstasy of devotional service. The more the Gopas and Gopis exchanged feelings with the Lord, the more their devotional service increased. Sometimes we may superficially see that a devotee is in difficulty because of being engaged in devotional service. But the fact is different. When a devotee suffers for Krishna, that suffering is transcendental enjoyment. Unless one becomes a devotee, this cannot be understood. When Krishna exhibits his childhood pastimes, not only did Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda increase their devotional affection, but those in their association also increased in devotional service. In other words, persons who follow the activities of Vrindavan will also develop devotional service in the highest perfection. Om Ganata Marandasya Gyana Gana Salakaya Jakshusha Milatan Gena Tazari Shri Gurave Namaha. Well, because this is the end of the chapter, Lord Krishna shows his universal form. Anyone know what is the setup for why he showed his universal form? What happened? Where did he show his universal form? To who? Mother Yasoda. And why? What had happened? Yeah, he'd been eating dirt, supposedly, although he claims falsely accused by his friends. And she said, well, let me see your mouth. Anyone who's had kids, say, well, open your mouth, let me see what's going on. So, of course, when he opened his mouth, the entire scope of creation. You know, Vedic time, because we just had New Year's and we were speaking about it different. it's a transition of time. Vedic time is so exact. It goes all the way down to, if you ever, a shaft of light is coming through the window and you see the little particles floating up, those are called anus in Vedic calculation. And the amount of time it takes the sun to cross over one of those tiny particles, in other words, it's a nanosecond. So far before they had nanoseconds and quarks and all the different things. It's there in the Vedas, perfectly described. They measured time so finite, so exact, and then it goes into, there's dandas, there's tirtas, there's all kinds of different spaces of time. Ultimately, it goes down to the Mahavishnu, breathes out, just one exhalation and all creation flows out, and he inhales and everything flows back in. So Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna Goswami told me this right here in Los Angeles. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was made, he had the very important and intoxicating post of being the temple commander of Los Angeles Temple. He wasn't the GBC, Karundar was maybe there wasn't GBC at that time, but at least the temple president was Dayananda. Yeah. So he wasn't the temple president, he wasn't the vice president, he wasn't the treasurer, he was the temple commander. There was at that time living in the temple maybe 30 devotees, practically no congregation. So, but it was the largest temple at the time in ISKCON. So Tamal Krishna Goswami told me that he asked Prabhupada, I have this position of such importance and power, I'm afraid I'm going to become intoxicated with this powerful position. So how do I protect myself against this, possible fault, contamination? Tamal Krishna Goswami said, Prabhupada told him, you think that Mahavishnu is exhaling. Just one exhalation. Everything flows. And in his breathing and from the pores of his body, so many little bubbles come out. And every bubble, Krishna goes again, expands, as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu expands, from the navel comes the lotus, Brahma comes, Brahma creates all the planets, unlimited universes, unlimited planets. Then in every planet, so many continents. Every continent, so many countries. Every country, so many states. Every state, so many counties. Every county, so many cities. Every city, so many streets, so many blocks. On every block, so many houses. Every house, so many rooms. And one of those rooms is Tamal Krishna thinking, I'm very important. So if we keep things, we could keep things in perspective. Also, the devotees, we understand the whole picture. It's not like we don't understand. Oh, you're sentimentalists. You believe that God is playing as a cowherd boy and God is a person, because you have to, impose on the absolute some sense of personhood because afraid of fear of death or whatever it is. Okay, fine. You want to be anthropomorphic, but we understand the greatness of God. No, we know all of that. We know how God is the, Brahmaneti, Paramaneti, Bhagavaneti, Shabhyate. We understand all the aspects. We know how God is present everywhere, how God is absolute. We understand all that. But we also understand the other side of the coin. We're persons. I personally was sitting in the room. Prabhupada said, put his hand out, why does the shadow have 5 fingers? Anyone know why the shadow of the hand has 5 fingers? Because the original object has 5 fingers. How can we have something that the absolute can't? We have persons. Personhood is how we define ourselves. I had a guy tell me, you're not really talking to me. I said, really? I thought he meant like I wasn't acknowledging him as a person. He was nuts. He said, actually, the real me is with the CIA in Langley, I'm a clone. I said, really? I said, anything else you want to share with me? So I got a watch that can stop time. I said, show me. He said, it'll stop for you. You won't see it. He wanted to move into our Bhakti program in Denver. I said, come on Sundays. I think you're at Sundays. But the point is that we understand the full picture. We understand how God is absolute, unlimited, but we also understand as we are persons, we define ourselves as persons. You know, we get very upset. You're treating me like a number. You're treating me impersonally. So we understand that Krishna, how can we have what Krishna doesn't? He must have an unlimited personality. And if you look at it, Jiva Goswami, his Sanskrit grammar, texts, is still being taught by the University of Chicago. Top Sanskrit school in the world. Next to it is the University of Benares. They're the two top Sanskrit schools in the world, and they both use Jiva Goswami's textbook. So they're not sentimentalists. You look at the Goswamis. Rupa Goswami, the British, when the British first started their empire, in the Raj, where did they put their capital before it was in Delhi? Put it in Calcutta. It was called the second city of the British Empire, second only to London. Why? Because Bengal, East Bengal, West Bengal, was so opulent, so powerful, so important, that's where they put their capital. And under Nawab Hussain Shah, who was the finance minister for that whole, bigger than the state of France. At the same time, it had a higher gross national product than the nation of France. Plus, they knew how to bathe. That's why perfume was developed in France, because they thought bathing made you sick. That's another side issue, but far more cultured and refined. And who was the finance minister? I think Rupa Goswami was the finance minister. Anyway, and Sanat Goswami was the prime minister. So such intelligent, qualified people. You can see their handwriting. You can see the writing. You can go to that Vrindavan Institute. It's right down from our temple. And they're accepting. They're writing all. The Krishna is sporting as a cowherd boy. Prabhupada was right here in LA when the temple room was over there. Prabhupada was saying that in the afternoon, late afternoon, Mother Yasoda calls Krishna. She says, Nanda Maharaj is coming back. He won't have his meal until you, so you have to come back and bathe. You have to come back, stop playing with your friends, and come back immediately. So his mother's calling him. He's ready to go. His friends say, if you leave, we're in the middle of our game. You leave now. We're not going to let you play with us tomorrow. You're breaking up the game. It's like the kid who goes home with the bat and the baseball, spoils the game. Hey, you leave now. We're not going to let you play. The older boys tell him. Prabhupada said, in this way, Krishna is perplexed. If he doesn't, Mother Yasoda's calling him, so he has to go. His older friends are saying, if you leave, he won't let you play. In this way, Krishna is perplexed. How is it possible? But Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, there, of course, in the Laghu Bhagavad Gita, Rupa Goswami writes, if you read it, it's all about different incarnations and the different avatars and how Krishna's, all the universes are in. All of that is profoundly understood before it mentions, Krishna's playing, lifting Govardhan Hill and all of that. So we know what's going on. This is a preface. I actually want to say something else. But it's not that the devotees, we've got the full package. We can understand simultaneously one and different. How everything is emanating from him beyond our comprehension. And at the same time, he's a small cowherd boy perplexed what to do with his mother and his cowherd boyfriends calling him in different directions. So we understand the whole picture. The purport talks about difficulty for Krishna. So, and I was thinking of Madhavinda Puri. You know the story of Madhavinda Puri, who walked, where did he walk from? All the way to... Yeah, he went all the way to Orissa to get the sandalwood paste and was preparing to walk all the way back. So many difficulties. But he was feeling great satisfaction. And I was thinking of Srila Prabhupada. If we think about it, just taking one category, to have so many disciples. When Prabhupada was in Detroit, I was there. We heard that Prabhupada had had his feet bathed. People think, so many followers, it must be, I was sitting in the room in Detroit. Prabhupada said, Lord Rama conquered Lanka with monkey soldiers. He gazed out at us and said, I am working with monkey disciples. And of course, those devotees are all great souls who took birth to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. I am lucky to even be a monkey disciple. But in that mood, to give you an example, to have so many, anyway, you'll understand when I tell the story. We'd heard that they'd bathed Prabhupada's feet in Los Angeles. It was called Abhishekam, and they'd bathed Prabhupada's feet. So our temple president, Govardhan Prabhu, wonderful devotee, I can never repay him, said, let's do that. Prabhupada was coming, so let's bathe Prabhupada's feet. I was the temple commander, Sankirtan leader, treasurer, chief bottle washer. So I was sent out. Govardhan said, go get a... We went to Kmart in those days. Now it's Walmart, but Kmart. And we got one of those plastic swimming pools with the little duckies painted around it, It was blue with pink ducks, I remember to this day. So we went and got that, So Prabhupada came, sat down. Govardhan and I came out with this, kids' swimming pool. Prabhupada looked at it. So, okay, Prabhupada can understand, okay, they're going to try to bathe my feet, all right. Prabhupada put his feet out. Govardhan had some milk in the conch shell, got ready to pour it. Prabhupada said, socks off, socks off. We were going to bathe Prabhupada's feet with the socks on, Oh, note to future, good idea to take the socks off, So then Govardhan poured the milk. Oh, Prabhupada pulled his feet back. It was ice cold. It'd come right out of the fridge. Oh, heat the milk. Good idea, Prabhupada put up with... Malati Mataji tells the story how at the end of the first initiation, Prabhupada said, bow down. And Prabhupada had his sweet Bengali transcendental accent. And, we were all in the mode of ignorance. So they were thinking Prabhupada said, blow. So they got down on all fours and they began to blow on the fire. You don't blow, like we don't put out birthday candles. You don't blow on Agni from your mouth. And Prabhupada Malati says, he got the saucer eyes. Prabhupada got those big eyes, said, okay, Krishna, this is what you've given me to work with, So, but anyone who has children, any good parent who has children, you have to accept so many difficulties with kids. Practically speaking, that's what there's always something. Kids should be born with crash helmets and seatbelts. They're always doing something. Oh, watch, I can fly. No, you can't, So, but the parents who accept difficulty, they work so hard. A good parent, it's tough. The father's working, now the mother's working, and to cook and to clean. But when they see the little baby is satisfied, it gives great happiness. So Prabhupada says that the love of a mother for the child is almost spiritual. It's the closest thing we can see to, and you see the mother is sacrificed, a father also, but everyone knows a mother, a good mother, how they're sacrificing. So to sacrifice for Krishna, it is a sublime thing. It is a sweet, right here in New Dwarka, there was a devotee named Dwarkadish. He's now, 40 years old, 50? He wrote a poem. Instead of loving a dog or a cat, why not love Krishna, who made all of that? And he ended the poem, Prabhupada liked it very much. He ended the poem with, sweet, sweet, can't be beat, what a taste, Krishna's 2 lotus feet. Prabhupada liked it very much. So, the fact of the matter is, people think that spiritual life is static or that it's internal. We see this in ISKCON. I'll explain what I mean. Well, spiritual life means chanting japa, and it does. Spiritual life means I'm in the middle of kirtan, or spiritual life means I'm looking at the deities, or I'm reading Bhagavatam. And what I do during the day, it just has to be done. It's just stuff that has to be done. Spiritual life is one thing. In my day-to-day washing pots or whatever I'm doing, that's okay, I've got to do it, and it's for Krishna. So if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Because it's for Krishna, therefore it's spiritual. But the fact of the matter is, when we accept difficulty for Krishna, there's a joke, I've told it before, but again, new faces. To be a temple president, well, I kind of blew the joke, but here it goes. There was a donkey, this is the joke, that any question you asked it, it would shake its head yes. So the local king offered a prize. Anyone that could get this donkey to shake his head no, got a gold coin. Different pundits tried, nobody could do it. Finally, one local pundit came up and whispered something in the donkey's ear. The donkey began shaking his head, no way, never, yet, not a nilch. So he won the prize, got the gold coin. They said, what did you ask him? He said, I asked him, do you want to be an ISKCON temple president? Ha, 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 ha. But the point is, to go out and distribute books, to put your own pride on the line, people are going to reject you. People are going to say mean things. People are going to challenge. So many things are going to happen. Sometimes like Arjuna, when Krishna withdrew all of his potency. And Arjuna was conquered by some common coward men. So sometimes you go out and your tongue is like a loaf of bread. You can't do anything. You realize, wait a minute. Everything depends on Krishna. So when we accept difficulty, when we do what's difficult to do, it describes here loving exchanges, how they were engaged in loving exchanges. When we accept difficulty, when we accept responsibility, when we oblige ourselves to surrender, I'm speaking to myself as well here, believe me, it opens the door to our heart for Krishna. What's the name of the game? Why are we here? Because the prasadam's good? Okay, but how long is that? Be relief from material distress? There was a guy, a bhakta in San Diego, and I was shaving him up, buzzing him up first. He had all these bumps and scars on his head. I said, what happened? You cage fighting? Of course, this was before the cage. I said, what happened? Rugby without a helmet? Well, what happened to your head? He said, oh, well, this is where my first wife hit me in the head with a golf club. He said, this is where my second wife slammed my head in a car door. He said, this is where my third wife hit me with an iron. Iron. So, his whole marital history was written on his head. It's like, geez, this guy's been through a lot. So, but he blooped. I don't know if we say blooped anymore, whatever. He eloped or whatever. With some girl he met at the San Diego dinner program. Left and went to Vegas for his 5th marriage. There was no, this is not going to work out. So, when we accept that something's difficult, what is the name of the game? That was what I was saying. The name of the game is not becoming comfortable in this world. You can't do it. You can tread water. Prabhupada gives the example. If you try to grab a hold of a dog's tail and cross the Atlantic Ocean, you have people that swim across, English Channel? Somebody just swam from Cuba, failed 3 times. Yeah, swam from Cuba. 90 miles. Okay. Swim around the world. Swim across the Atlantic. It's not going to happen. You can't do it. So to swim across the ocean of birth and death, that's where we are. Reality tours. Everybody gets old and everybody dies. And whatever you did in this world will catch up with you. You can escape. I felt I was strong as a bull until I hit 50. Now, I'm half dead. I can barely cross the street. It just caught up to me. It catches up to everyone. Ultimately, I remember Sukadev Prabhu, who I can never repay. I was living in Laguna Beach, thinking that I was kissed by the gods. All I had to do was stay on the conveyor belt and everything was going to fall into my lap. So, devotees hit me with their usual line, this birth, death, disease, old age, place is full of misery. I said, maybe for you. I said, you may be a loser. You haven't figured it out. I said, things are great I said, take your blues somewhere else, my friend. I'm having a great time. I was 17 years old in the prime of life, on one hand, on the cusp of enjoyment. He said to me, there's one thing though. I said, what? He said, nobody gets out of this world alive. And it just spoiled everything. It just rattled around in my head and rattled around, and everything was spoiled. I said, that Hare Krishna was right. So I don't want to belabor the point. I want to make another point. But the fact of the matter is, what is the name of the game? What is success? What is happiness? Hey, let's get real. Oh, you Hare Krishnas, you're just sentimentalists, you're escaping, whatever, You're just dancing in the hand of an illusory God. Fine. I had a lady tell me, it was at Laguna Beach. We were serving prasadam. A couple kids are standing in line. Young boys, hey, free food, sign me up, man. They jumped in line, I was just about to give them a nice heaping plate of first-class Krishna prasadam. The mother swooped in, don't touch that food. I said, okay. I said, you're the mother, whatever you say, I'm not going to intercede in that relationship. But do you mind telling me why? She said, there's drugs in that food. I said, why do you say that? She said, look at you. She said, I was just talking to one of you. No intoxication. I'm sorry, not no intoxication. No boyfriend, girlfriend. No, you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And look at you. You're all happy. How is it possible? You must be on drugs. That was her conclusion. And it was one of those golden moments. I looked out at all the devotees. Actually, we're happy, So, happiness is a different thing. Happiness, we think, is titillating our senses. But when you realize that happiness, the happiness of service, the happiness of pleasing Krishna, and Prabhupada gives the example of watering the roots of the tree, the whole tree becomes nourished. Nothing else is going to work. Whatever you've got, you're going to have to give up. It's we're either in the state of hankering or we're in the state of lamenting. And if you're not hankering or lamenting, picture a mountain. One side you're hankering. You get the top for a few minutes, then you're lamenting. But even that top few moments, you're in complete anxiety. When's it going to go? How am I going to lose it? What's happening to it? Or you hit a saturation point. I worked at Baskin-Robbins Ice Cream before I became a devotee. Summer job, whatever. They've got 3 scoops, 4 scoop. You can get a 5 scoop sundae. I think the biggest thing they offer was a 7 scoop sundae. Why? Anybody know why? You think after, 7, 8 scoops, you give them another scoop. A roller coaster broke at the Del Mar Fair in San Diego. Not merry-go-round. You know merry-go-round? Everybody, all the kids, everybody's happy. They got the calliope music. All the parents are taking snaps. Happy, right? The thing broke, and it speeded up. Zoom, 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 zoom. Kids are tossing their lunch. Parents are freaking. The whole thing. What had been heavenly, prolonged, became absolutely hellish, became a nightmare. So, hankering, complete anxiety, and saturation point, and then lamenting. What is this world? Someone who has actual eyes eyes to see. So what is the name of the game? The name of the game is, you can see the devotees, even the jnanis, how to get out of this world, how to merge. Devotees, what is it, Kaivalya? The devotees look at liberation as something horrible, to become, we'll accept all the other liberations. The same form of the Lord, live on the same planet of the Lord, same opulences of the Lord. But to actually merge, oh. So the point I'm trying to make is that, the point I'm trying to make is that when we accept responsibility, when we accept difficulty, when we step out of our comfort zone, in the light of the Bhagavad, there's, it's all the instruction from the natural path. It gives the example of a mountain. And a mountain, the storms, anyone who, they have what are these mountains called up here? Sierra Madre, what are they called? Oh. San Bernardino, okay, fine. You go up to these mountains. What's on the other side of the mountains? Desert. Because all the clouds catch on it and pound on this side, and then when all the water's out, they blow over. There's desert on the other side. So that side is always being pounded by the storms. Light of the Bhagavatam gives the example that a devotee is like a mountain. He's fixed. One of the reasons we worship Govardhan Hill and Govardhan Shila and pray to Govardhan, let me become steady in my devotional service. So when it's difficulties are pounding, do you think there will be difficulties in this world? Yeah, who said that with full enthusiasm? If I touch coal, hot coal, what will happen to me? Hot piece of coal, I pick it up, what happens? I'm burned. So I think, I just heard Prabhupada give this example, it's a nice example. Okay, hot coal burned me. I'll let it cool down, and when it cools, I'll handle it. When it's cold and you handle coal, what happens? You get black all over you. So Prabhupada says, hot or cold, coal is trouble. In any state, it's trouble. This material world is trouble. This body is trouble. In any state, it's trouble. Once we get that through our thick heads, Prahlad Maharaj says, and I'm speaking to myself, don't worry. Prahlad Maharaj says, anyone know the analogy Prahlad Maharaj says? Just as difficult, anybody here seek difficulty? We have any closet masochists who want to out themselves? Anybody here seek difficulty? No, I don't see any hands going up. Anybody experience difficulty? Hey, both hands up. So what is Prahlad Maharaj's analogy? What does he say? As difficulty comes unsought, what will also come? Happiness will come. I had a practical experience. I love sweets. It's the reason I got diabetes. I love sweets. I ate my entire quota in 40 years. Suppose I live 80, that's actually the situation, I love sweets. Krishna Prasad, of course, but I love sweets. So, big festival, San Diego, devotees made me a nice plate of prasadam, all different types of sweets, this and that. I had one plate was sweets, one plate was, And I don't know if you know what it's like being a manager, but, my wife, my life, my strife, Maharaj, you got a minute? That's a dead tip-off. As soon as they say that, you're in the shower and somebody climbs up and calls on the window, hey, can I talk to you? I'm in the shower. Devotee says, oh, I don't mind. The idea that you've got a private life or a few minutes, not even on the radar. I mean, whatever. I'm not complaining. It's actually purifying, and that's the point I want to get to. But 2 plates of prasadam, who was going to do this offering, who was going to do that, solve this, settle this, dodge that guy, got around the corner. All I wanted to do was get to my office, shut the door, take prasadam, and read Chaitanya Charitamrita. I could see it. I was within 10 steps of my door, All I had to do was get on the other side, Krishna Prasadam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, what's not to love, Got the door open. And as I got the door open, I tripped. And I swear to you, just like it was like everything slowed down, I watched the plates do a double flip. Boom, landed right upside down on the dirt. You know, if it was the floor, I could have salvaged them, but on the dirt, you know. And I was, you know, at 1 minute I was in ecstasy, and the next minute, you know, you don't want to see a grown man cry, but I was close to it, you know. So I was thinking, well, there it is, you know. And just then, a devotee came around the corner and said, hey, I saved you plenty of prasadam. Would you like some nice prasad? So it came unsought, the distress, and the happiness came unsought. So it'll happen. It's destined. So if we just put that aside and let me, because there's another taste. That's when we open up our hearts. Like what is it in Upadeshamrita, the different symptoms, isn't it? Exchanges of love, revealing one's mind in confidence, receiving, you know, someone else reveals their mind in confidence, exchanging gifts, exchanging prasadam, cookie, you know, these are exchanges of love. What happens in devotional service? If we accept, we can go on, they call it Krishna unconsciousness. You know, you can go along in a static state, going through the steps. We've done it so many times. You just, you know, snick, ram, snick, what's for breakfast, what's for lunch. What did my wife say? Did she really mean it? You know, whatever. We can do so many things. But when we have to pray, it gets real. You know, they say when the match hits the incense or the rubber hits the road, it becomes real. When you're in difficulty, no one will take a book. It's, you know, whatever it may be. Somebody told me low protein diet. And if it's I'm thinking at the time. When we accept difficulty, as it's being described here, two things happen. Many things happen, but I want to talk about two things, just briefly. We open up our heart. We begin to pray to Krishna. We reveal our mind. And Krishna reciprocates. Krishna gives inspiration within the heart. Well, actually it's because of this anartha, or because of this attachment, or because of this offense. Or, you know, how will we become strong if you don't learn to become steady in difficulty? Are we fair weather friends? I was listening to a tape, Prabhupada said, just Krishna, if you give me $2 million, I could serve you so nicely. Otherwise, I'm going home. Prabhupada says, you know. So, you know, just make everything nice for me, comfortable. But when we're in difficulty, when we have to surrender, when we have to pray, when we have to draw on our deeper, better self, it gives Krishna a handle. It gives us something to hold, Krishna something to work with. Krishna can then start massaging the heart, massaging the mind, revealing himself. It becomes real, the relation, the reciprocal, like it says here, reciprocal exchanges of feelings, it says in the purport. When we accept difficulty, when we for Krishna, Krishna becomes real. Krishna reveals himself. We move out of a static, comatose, or, you know, whatever it is, inert state, to an active state. Tesham satayuktanam bhajitam pratipurvakam, Krishna within the heart. Matasmiti jnanam aponam cha. Everything starts to cook, and Krishna starts to reciprocate. I was on a morning walk in Detroit. This particular walk, Prabhupada was very quiet. All of a sudden, he planted his cane, he sized us all up, and he said, I know you're all atheists, but there really is Krishna. And turned around and kept right on walking. Talk about a bombshell, you know. He's completely true, you know. We're all hedging our bets, you know, hedging our bets. Prabhupada tells a story about who was that guy, Gopal Bhan, Prabhupada tells stories about, that he bought bokul flowers. It's not a very fragrant flower. He had a big basket of bokul flowers, and he was making a garland. So his friend said, why are you making a garland of, what are you doing? Gopal Bhan. Maybe it was Gopal, I forget who it was. He said, I'm making a garland of bokul flowers, and I'm going to offer it to Krishna when he comes. And if Krishna doesn't come, I can always cook it up as a veg. In other words, bokul flour, evidently you can also cook it. So he was hedging his bets. Well, I'm making it for Krishna. Maybe Krishna will come, maybe Krishna won't come. And if Krishna doesn't come and I've made a garland with nice flowers, I've wasted my money. So let me get bokul flowers. They'll dual purpose, you know. We had a guy in San Diego. It was Saturday, it was busy. And he parked his car in the handicapped, right in front of the temple. I said, hey, you know, you parked there. You're going to get a ticket. He said, I'm coming for darshan. Krishna will protect me. He walked about 5 feet. He said, how much is the ticket? So I said, guess. He said, $20. He said, Krishna will protect me. You know. I said, no, it's more than that. He said, $100. He said, Krishna will protect me. I said, it's $450. Oh, he went and moved his car. So that was the exact tipping point of the price of his faith. He had about $450 worth of faith, you know. I mean, not that, you know, we don't test Krishna, we don't think like that Krishna's going to reciprocate, you know, that whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is that practical devotional service, accepting responsibility, going the extra mile, doing what is difficult, not just what's sufficient, but doing it. Prabhupada, Shruti Kirti Prabhu told me that Prabhupada said that devotional service is manifest in the details of one's service. Whatever our service is, when we're attentive to the details, how to do it nicely for Krishna, not just prosaically, mechanically, then we're opening our heart. We're sometimes in difficulty. We have to pray. We're revealing our mind. Krishna will reveal his mind. Krishna will do something wonderful. It just came to my mind. It's not the best story, but it just came to my mind. We used to wear wigs on Sankirtan. Remember those days? Who knows why, whatever. You know, whatever. We thought it was what we could do. When men were men, we used to put in a full day of Sankirtan. You know, we were out the door by a certain amount of time, and, you know. So we did the mall, we did the county fair, we did the, you know, whatever it was. Saturday, you know, Friday, Saturday, you know, trying to put it in all the day. So the last thing we would do was drive in movie theaters at night. I was with another devotee. We were rotating rows. You know, he would do one row, I'd do the next. You know, this way we work. Somehow we got our wires crossed and we did the same row. And he had just knocked on, hey, roll it down, man. And the guy was doing something nefarious, you know. We don't even need to go into it. He was doing something nefarious, and he freaked when the devotee knocked on, you know. Oh, sorry, said the devotee left. 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, I'm knocking on the guy's door too. He was so angry. It was the Skyview Drive-In movie theater at 8.5 Mile Road in Detroit. Don't try it. He jumped out of his car, whipped out a gun, and was going to shoot me. I thought, well, so it is. So, well, at least I'm doing Sankirtan. It won't be, you know, Krishna. And then I tried to run. I was a young man. He grabbed me by my hair to hold me, you know, and he was going to shoot me or punch. I don't know what he was in. But I just shaved up. The wig came right off. And the tactile experience, you know, it's just, he thought he'd scalp me. He's holding, what? The ching, I took off like a jackrabbit, you know, it was okay. But the point is that, you know, I was thinking, Krishna saved me, you know. I mean, there's so many, we could go on and on. There's so many examples of amazing ways that Krishna, that's just a minor one. But so many ways Krishna reciprocates. When we go out on the edge, Krishna reciprocates. When we take a risk for Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. When we accept a difficulty for Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. And Krishna becomes real. We move from that static, atheistic, impersonal state to the real state. So we should look forward. We shouldn't think, oh, this is a burden. Going on Sankirtan is a burden. I have to go out there and confront these people and deal with their false egos and all their nonsense, and I just want to, you know, give me a simple service back at the temple. Tasting prasadam, sign me up, you know? Or whatever, maybe I don't want to be a manager. I got to deal with... A devotee told me, well, I'm going to get married. It'll make my mind peaceful. I'm not picking on marriage. There's many very advanced householders. I mean, you look at our movement rests on the householders. Sannyasis are just a play in the hand of God. The sannyasis are the one doing the work. I mean, the brahmachari, Freudian slip. The householders are the ones that are really the base of this movement. And you look at what happened in London. You know, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur sent his best, we'll end in a minute. He sent his best to London. Prabhupada, you can listen to the tape. Prabhupada was there when they came back, Van Maharaj and others. And when they got off the boat and were coming down the gangplank, you know, and Prabhupada and Sridhar Swami were there at the dock waiting to pick them up, they were in Western dress. Van Maharaj. Prabhupada turned to Sridhar Swami and said, "We were sent to change them, but they have changed us." Prabhupada could immediately understand what happened. Then when they got in the car, Van Maharaj said, "They asked many questions we could not answer." Prabhupada said he looked at Sridhar Swami. What question's not answered in the Bhagavatam? Everything's answered in the Bhagavatam. You know? So when we accept difficulty, when we accept austerity, when we go out on a limb for Krishna, when we accept the responsibility of any kind of responsibility, I'm supposed to sweep the floor. Let me do it to the best of my ability and more. I'm making a garland. I'm cooking. I'm on Sankirtan. Whatever I'm doing, let me do it to my best ability. Krishna reciprocates, and Krishna becomes real. So we are over time, but that's the point I wanted to make. And actually, one last thing. This will be really quick. Also, we should understand the importance of being good association. It describes here by Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda, by their association, everyone became advanced. They all became absorbed in Krishna culture. So we know the importance of taking good association, and we should. We should always be looking for good association. But we also have a responsibility to be good association. To actually be good association for others. And lo and behold, we'll find that when we try to become good association, we become happy. We actually become, and Krishna becomes real. So two things, accept responsibility, be good association, and Krishna will become real. And will become happy in any condition. What's not to love? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. And you live in New Dwarka. Better than heaven, you know.